Hello everybody, my name is Grace and today I'm going to continue reading the book Who Was Milton Bradley? Chapter 4 Entertaining the Troops. Milton returned to Springfield but did not go right back to making games. The presidential election was less than 2 months away. Milton hoped that Abraham Lincoln would win the election. Milton, like Lincoln, was against slavery. Many other people in Springfield area also supported Lincoln. Milton made thousands of prints of a photo of Lincoln looking handsome and clean-shaven because people were excited about the election. Milton sold a lot of Lincoln portraits. Then he left Springfield to marry Vilona in Boston. Their wedding was on November 8th. His 24th birthday. After Lincoln won the election, an angry man walked into Milton's office. He complained that the prince didn't look like Lincoln at all. He showed Milton a new photograph of President Lincoln with a beard. People were no longer interested in the portrait of beardless Lincoln. They wanted to see the president the way he looked after his inauguration. Some people even demanded their money back. Sadly, Milton lost a lot of money on the Lincoln prints. But Milton didn't worry too much about his beardless pink Lincoln portrait. He was saved by the checkered game of life, because the game had sold well in New York City stores. News about it spread throughout the Northeast. Milton got orders for the game from stores all over the states of New York, then Boston, and other parts of New England. Milton and his assistant worked hard to keep up with the orders. They printed, cut, and put 40,000 copies of the game during the winter of 1860 and 61. When the Civil War began in April 1861, the local military unit asked Milton to help draft plans for new types of weapons. Suddenly, his patent business took off. Everyone seemed to have an idea for a new invention that they could be used in war. All they needed illustrations of their ideas for parent applications. Milton spent his mornings drawing plans for his customers, then spent his afternoons and nights working on plans for guns and other weapons. Milton had really wanted to join the Union Army, but the army commander in Springfield wouldn't let him. He told Milton that designing new guns was the most important job he could be doing. Milton understood, but he wished he could do more. One day, Milton walked by a group of soldiers at a nearby camp. They were standing around fires, trying to keep warm on the cold fall day. Milton thought they looked sad and bored. He realized the soldiers didn't have much to do when they weren't marching or fighting. Milton believed that fun was important. He even thought that it might help people get through hard times. How could he help the soldiers have a little bit of fun? Milton came up with a small pocket-sized game board and tiny pieces that could be used to play different games: chess, checkers, backgammon, and 5 types of dominoes, and of course, the checkered game of life. He called his new game set the Kit for Soldiers. Milton handed out the game kits to local soldiers. Then he wrote the stores that he had already been selling the checkered game of life, and told them about the new game kit for soldiers. He was selling them for $1 each. Soon, Milton got as many orders as he could handle. Many were from charities that bought large numbers of the game to give away to soldiers. Milton had found his own special way to help the Union soldiers, by helping them pass the time and giving them a small way to have fun. Chapter 5 All in Cards. Milton struggled to keep up with all the orders for the soldiers' kits and for the checkered game of life. To make each game, he had to print a picture of the playing field. Then he created the board by cutting a stiff square of cardboard. He pasted each picture onto each board. Milton also had to cut out every piece the player used to move around the board, as well as the cardboard spinners. Then it all had to be packaged in a box. It was a lot of work. Finally, Milton found an assistant who could take over most of the printing and cutting. Now he had more time for creating new games. Milton's next game was a pack of cards called Modern Hieroglyphics, or picture writings for the times hieroglyphics, were an ancient Egyptian form of writing that used pictures. Writing for the times meant that the puzzles were about current events. Instead of using hieroglyphics, Milton used a rebus to spell out words and phrases on each card. The rebus game was a card with a huge size, but it created a problem for Milton. He had to keep inventing more puzzles. Luckily, the game's fans came to the rescue. They started to send Milton their own puzzle ideas. Milton used the best one in new packs of cards. He sent each contributor a payment for their puzzle. Milton wanted people to have fun with his games, but also he hoped that they could learn something. His next pack of cards focused on history. Imperial Heroes, or Who's Traitor, had an image of military leader from U.S. history on each card. Players won points by correctly identifying the person on the picture. Milton liked to keep his cards up to date. He included generals who were fighting at the time in the Civil War. By 1864, the Milton Bradley Company was too busy for Milton to handle with just one or two assistants. Milton asked George Tapley if he could like to join him and may be responsible for running the office and factory while Milton developed new games. But George was busy working for a newspaper publisher. He didn't join the Milton Bradley Company. Instead, he loaned Milton $10,000 to help it grow. He suggests that his brother G.F. Tapley and his business partner Clark Bryan handle the business for Milton. That sounded fine to Milton. He liked being successful, but he really just wanted to invent games. So that's all chapter 4 and chapter 5, and I will see you in chapter 6 and chapter 7. Bye!